Welcome back to the #1 home improvement YouTube channel in the world. Today we finish up the electrical in this massive kitchen renovation. I'm going to talk about a lot of things today. Gfi Outlets. What's the line and the load? How do you hook this up? And why do so many people mess it up? All these Gfi protected small appliance circuits are 20 amps. This is a 20 amp receptacle, but we will be installing 15 amp receptacle.
What? How is that possible, Handyman? You can't do that. You need the one with the little leg on the side.
Nope. We will be installing 15 amp receptacles on these 20 amp small appliance circuits that also are Gfi protected. Another topic, you've been asking for it for days, weeks, years. These little things, these little trinkets, these little press connects. These are the shark bites of the electrical world. I'm going to get into why I don't use them. Very tempting to use these though. I want to start with the Gfi outlet. At this stage in the remodel, these two small appliance circuits, the first outlet in the run gets a Gfi outlet. That means that they will be Gfi protected. There is another way to do this. You don't use one of these. You put one of these in, all of them. You put one of these in all your receptacles, and at the electrical panel, you put a GFCI breaker in. GFCI breakers are a little bit more expensive. That may be how this ends up, but at this stage, I need to get it working, operating, electrified. I need power in here. You gotta plug your coffee maker in. Look, it's got this array of extension cords. That's another big thing that people keep asking. Why are you doing this remodel the way that you're doing it? And I keep answering every day in the videos and in the comments. Because it's occupied. And when I mean occupied, I mean heavily occupied and used. They are using that refrigerator that is behind you every single day. They are still cooking on this oven every single day. They need a place to put their stuff. They already have their dishes moved in. That's why when you purchase one of these things, they will have a sticker that covers the bottom half. This one here, these two are called the line. This one down here is going to be the load. So your home run, that is the power source. That is the wire that is connected to the breaker inside the panel. So that one that comes from the panel to your first electric box, first receptacle box, goes in the line. That's your power source. Now, everything else is fed through your load. It's like your load. You're putting a load on the circuit. That's how you know how it works. Line, the power comes from the panel. Load is all the other outlets that this controls. Looks like charge is load in Spanish. Learn something new every day. The ligni is line in Spanish. So I'm going to install this right here. This is, I have them marked out. When you saw me pull the wires, I labeled everything so that when it comes to trim it out, I know where everything goes. So this one here says Gfi home run, and this one says load. This goes to here, goes down and over to that side, and that's it. That's it, just 3 outlets. Got to answer another question. What under cabinet lighting will be going in? They're getting some good stuff here. Top of the line. Very nice, very slim. This is a 32-inch section. We've got knockouts all along the back and the top. It comes with a connector that is specifically made to fit these knockout holes. It has 3 different color settings. If you've watched my past videos, we've talked about the K value of LEDs. I believe this starts at like 27 and goes to 4,000 temperatures. 3 color temperatures, 27,000, 3,000 and 4,000 K. 4,000 K is what's going to be the brightest white, and the 2,700 is going to be that yellower look that you get from an incandescent bulb. There is 2 settings, a low, an off, and a high. We'll not be installing these until much later. Since people asked, I wanted to give them the answer. They go right up underneath. They tuck right up out of the way. Can't see them. Go ahead and ask it. Go ahead and ask it. What about the trim? that you put around the underneath side of cabinets to conceal under cabinet lighting. You're just going to have to subscribe and click that bell to see what happens. If you lose your sticker, it's always printed in the plastic, line and load. Links to all these things will be in the description, especially those under cabinet lights. I'm going to talk a little bit about how do you know which side to put the black on and which side to put the white on. So you remember black to brass, white to bright, and green to ground. Our GFI is in. I'm going to continue on down the road here, but it's not that much fun just watching me put outlets in. This video will pick up back at the workshop where we're going to go over some of those questions I talked about earlier. Thanks for hanging in there with me. Talking about electrical code can be difficult. It's all kind of like talking about climate change or talking with flat earthers. There's just a lot of misinformation out there. Really not misinformation, they create the information in their own mind. We're going to start with the 20 amp rated receptacle versus the 15 amp rated receptacle, and why all the 20 amp circuits in your house have 15 amp rated receptacles.
Why is that? The house is gonna burn down. We're gonna die.
That is not going to happen. So I challenge you, go throughout your house and see if you even find a receptacle, an outlet, a plug that looks like that. Where will you find it? You might find one that is just a single outlet, not a duplex outlet. Find this one, just the top one, it might be where your refrigerator is. And that right there is the big difference, the deciding factor of why all homes put these on their 20 amp circuits and not these. As soon as you install one of these on a 20 amp circuit, you've installed two. So as soon as there's two on a 20 amp circuit, that sets the tone for the rest of them. Say you have a 20 amp home run from your panel to your wall, you can install this outlet because it's two outlets, not just one outlet. This is an example in my workshop of what a single receptacle looks like. It's going to be just one circle. This happens to be 220 20 amps. This is what 110 20 amps look like. But this is what I'm talking about when I say a single receptacle. All right, I think we got that one settled and figured out. You can look it up for yourself. Oh boy, this looks awesome. Push-in wire connectors from 12 gauge to 20 gauge. It's one thing, one size fits all. Man, this is gonna make life so much easier and so much faster. Just like these guys. This is a shark bite. This is basically a shark bite for the electrical world. I'm going to go through how you use these, and then I'm going to go through how I do it and how people have done it for a long time. Come on down to the workbench here. I've got some things laid out for you. Let's get a couple of these out. I've got some 12 gauge wire here because that's predominantly what I've been working with in this video series. Now to start off, I'm just going to pop one of these apart and show you the inside so you can get an idea of how this holds your wires together. So just pop these little tabs off. There's just a little piece of spring-loaded steel in there. It's like this. That's it, right there. Feels nice and secure. You can see the wires going in. This tiny little piece of metal is spring-loaded and is pushing against it. Watch this. go. Just trying to give you guys an up-close view of how this connection is. That's basically it right there. Now on the same set of wires, I'm going to show you how I connect them. No one's saying this is faster. What I'm looking at is surface area, contact area. Already that is better, without the wire nut, is better than this here. Now you throw on a wire nut. Now these have a metal insert in there, and the threads in this metal insert have sharp edges and they cut into it. And you crank these down. There is so much more contact area, surface area of contact between these two wires and pressure squeezing them together than these little tabs right here. Now, I know there's videos out there on the internet that run current through these to see if the little metal tabs are going to melt, overheat, break down, and that's not the problem I have with them. The problem I have is that tiny little, where's another one? That tiny little tab of metal right here. What happens when that goes through a bunch of heat cycles? Say this does heat up and cool down. The tension on that over time is going to be less and less. The spring-loaded clamping ability of that tiny little tab there, that is it. You know, and that may be all it takes. But let me pull this wire nut off for you. This is just so much stronger than that tiny little tab there. It may be overkill. It may be more than is necessary. One thing I run into a lot, especially working on houses that have a lot of DIY projects, I don't see these wires twisted. They will just be underneath a wire nut like this. And they don't have the forearm strength and the grip strength to crank these down. And I mean, it just really make a very, very tight joint. Pops right off. You can easily bend those tabs out to remove it. I know it's tempting to use these little push connectors, and I have a full assortment of them. I started to use them. Now, I didn't have any failures. I don't think it's going to be a common thing to have a failure with these. After the job was done, I kept thinking, man, I don't trust those. Just the way my mind works, it's very mechanical. I do this stuff for a living. I've done it my entire life. I put things together and take them apart. It's a lot more work using wire nuts, especially on 12 gauge wire. What the heck does all this electrical talk have to do with plumbing shark bites? I'm coming in close. You're going to be looking right inside there. You guys see it? The same little metal tabs that hold that wire together are holding the pipe inside this 90-degree elbow here. See those right there? Recently, I've taken some shark bite connections apart that have been there for several years. I compared the 5-year-old shark bite connection to a brand new shark bite connection, and clear as day, those tabs were pressed back. They were not out and as aggressive as the new one, just because they got weak over time. And I bet over time, those tiny little tabs there are not going to have the clamping force that they did on day one. I know for a fact, because of the old houses that I work on, that this twisted connection here with just electrical tape is still conducting electricity. If you guys have more questions, put them down in the comment section. I know this one's going to be a fiery topic. Keep the swear words out of it. I try to run a family-friendly YouTube channel here. After all, it is the #1 home improvement YouTube channel in the entire world.